Today on NewsWatch, fight night in Las Vegas, and the gloves are off for the final debate between Donald Trump and Hillary Clinton. Plus, the plug gets pulled on Wikileaks. Julian Assange had been releasing documents about Hillary Clinton, but now his internet connection has been blocked. And
so the idea is basically to change the culture by changing the heart with the message of the gospel.
the Bible behind bars. See who's helping these prisoners to break free and launch into a life of ministry. Thanks for joining us for CBN NewsWatch. I'm Charlene Aaron. Hillary Clinton and Donald Trump are getting ready for their final presidential debate. The meeting comes in the midst of new allegations of voter fraud against Democrats. Jennifer Wishon is in Las Vegas, where the big show is going down.
There's no place quite like it. Las Vegas, home to loud shows with new stars and old standbys, not to mention a number of things that might make you blush.
Wait a minute. Las Vegas sounds a lot like the 2016 presidential race. There may be no more appropriate place for Donald Trump and Hillary Clinton to square off one last time.
This is part one of our undercover investigation into the dark backroom deal.
And the October surprises keep piling up. Project Veritas packing a 1-2 punch against Hillary Clinton and Democrats. First releasing undercover video of Democrat operatives working with the Clinton campaign who organized chaos at Trump rallies. Then video of a Democratic election official in New York City detailing voter fraud. This after a handful of Wikileaks releases that give Clinton's critics new ammunition in their argument she can't be trusted. Meanwhile, Donald Trump continues to defend himself against allegations from women who say they were the victims of unwanted sexual advances. His wife Melania and daughter Ivanka coming to his defense.
There's no question the burden is on Donald Trump. Just off the Vegas Strip, his hotel stands out with a commanding presence. That's the same thing the Republican nominee needs to do in tonight's final showdown. Stand out, get back on message, and remind voters why they nominated an outsider.
Here on the Vegas Strip, people are engaged but ready to get back to the issues.
What I would like to see is a real debate where the rules are followed and finger pointing doesn't happen.
Brianna from Texas used to be for Clinton. Now she's so frustrated, she's considering not voting.
Honestly, I feel like it's a joke. I feel like it's a big circus, and due to the fact that I don't feel like they're taking it serious, it's pushing me to not take it serious.
One way or another, Ray from California says a big change is coming.
I think it's time to realize that we're in a lot of trouble. I think the United States is in a lot of trouble. The government, I've never seen the government appear so crooked as it is appearing now.
Like a roll of the dice, Nevada could still go either way. Congressman Crescent Hardy says having the debate here reaffirms the state's electoral significance.
It's right up there with having Cher come back and be here at the palace again. So I joke, but it is important.
Frustration in this swing state is justified. Nevada has one of the highest unemployment rates in the country. In some places, it's more than double the national average.
That's all every father wants to do is provide for his family, to make sure that they have roof over their head, food on the table, and clothes on their back, and want to have a little more, live that American dream.
How to get there is the question.
It won't be for Trump.
I love Donald Trump.
In Las Vegas, Jennifer Wishon, CBN News.
The government of Ecuador says it has cut off the internet access of Wikileaks editor-in-chief Julian Assange. But some signs point to the U.S. Secretary of State. As Dale Hurd reports, it comes as Wikileaks had been releasing documents about Hillary Clinton.
WikiLeaks continues to embarrass the Clinton campaign with disclosures of hacked emails. One email leaked Tuesday appears to suggest Hillary Clinton wants Obamacare to fail, referring to the unraveling of the Affordable Care Act in a strategy discussion. The emails also show Clinton campaign chairman John Podesta calling Hillary's rival in the Democratic primaries, Bernie Sanders, a doofus. Wikileaks head Julian Assange, who is holed up in the Ecuadorian embassy in London, has had his internet cut. Wikileaks alleges Secretary of State John Kerry asked Ecuador to cut Assange's internet, a charge the State Department denies. Ecuador said it acted alone in restricting Assange's internet because he was interfering in a foreign election. Meanwhile, Clinton has more email troubles. Emails obtained by Citizens United through a Freedom of Information Act request added to concerns about Hillary Clinton's health, suggesting that simply walking around a stage may have been a challenge for Clinton as early as 2009. And President Obama Tuesday was taking shots at Republican presidential nominee Donald Trump. The president rejected Trump's claims of widespread voter fraud, although some examples of it have been popping up around the country.
You start whining before the game's even over? If whenever things are going badly for you and you lose, you start blaming somebody else, then you don't have what it takes to be in this job. I'd advise Mr. Trump to stop whining and go try to make his case to get votes.
And Obama called Trump's praise of Russian President Vladimir Putin unprecedented.
And Mr. Trump's continued flattery of Mr. Putin and the degree to which he appears to model many of his policies and approaches to politics on Mr. Putin is unprecedented in American politics.
Trump will have the chance to fire back at tonight's final debate. Dale Hurd, CBN News.
Signs of voter fraud out of Indiana. The state's top elections official says thousands of Indiana voter registrations have been altered. The Republican Secretary of State says voters say their birth dates or first names were incorrect. State police are still investigating possible voter registration fraud in 56 counties. Christian leader and psychologist Dr. James Dobson is calling for civil disobedience against a pro-abortion law in California. A federal court upheld the law which forces pro-life pregnancy centers to promote abortion. Dobson says, "I have a simple word of advice to those pastors, priests, and others who run California's crisis pregnancy centers. If California attempts to enforce this law, then do not comply. Make them put you in jail." Other courts in Texas, Maryland, and New York have struck down similar laws. UNESCO has approved a resolution that Israel says denies the Jewish people's historic connection to holy sites in Jerusalem. The resolution, titled Occupied Palestine, lays out rules about the preservation of sites like the Temple Mount and the Western Wall. It essentially wipes out any biblical connection by referring to those sites only by their Islamic name. The resolution is the latest of several measures at UNESCO that Israelis see as evidence of ingrained anti-Israel bias within the United Nations. Hundreds of schoolgirls kidnapped by Boko Haram Islamic terrorists in Nigeria have reportedly been radicalized too and don't want to leave. That report comes from a local Nigerian leader as his government negotiates with Boko Haram to release the girls. Hundreds of girls are still in captivity and many have reportedly been brainwashed. Last week, Boko Haram released 21 girls, most of them Christians. Their parents are hopeful their daughters can heal and get an education.
After taking care of their health, we want the federal government to take care of their education. The education that these militants disturbed for the 2 years and 6 months, we want them to continue with their education. Because our pride in the Chibok area is education. We rely on education.
Many girls who remain were forced to get married and have babies with their terrorist captors or convert to Islam. Well, here in the U.S., many students will experience bullying at some point in their lives. That is why Wisconsin school officials and police have introduced a measure that holds parents accountable. As Mark Martin reports, they say ending bullying starts in the home.
Plover, Wisconsin police and school officials are teaming up to stop bullying where it starts, at home. Last school year, they introduced a new measure that not only holds school bullies accountable for their behavior, but their parents too.
And we already have had other laws on the books and ordinances on the books that may address elements of bullying, but what that didn't do was hold the parents accountable.
Parents of bullies will face a written warning, and if the bullying continues, they will pay for their child's behavior with a $124 fine. No fines yet, but 4 warnings were sent home.
Parents have had to say, whoa, whether they like it or not, they have to acknowledge it.
School officials and police say this new measure is not about punishing students or parents, but about recognizing anti-bullying efforts start at home first.
I think it's so important that they just talk to their child about what might be going on. Typically, bullying is sort of a behavior that's, surfacing another issue.
Officials hope this won't just tackle bullying, but prevent even bigger problems as well.
If we can prevent one school shooting, if we can prevent one child from committing suicide, if we can get 10,000 more kids to go to school, even just one more kid to go to school.
For them, bullying ends where unity and accountability start. Mark Martin, CBN News.
Some are calling it a big win for families. With Thanksgiving just around the corner, retailers everywhere are rethinking Black Friday. Business Insider reports that many retailers are closing their doors on Thanksgiving Day in response to backlash over the Black Friday tradition. The Mall of America took the lead in this new tradition, vowing to close its doors until the feasting is over. The mall says Thanksgiving is about family, not blowing cash. Costco, Home Depot, and countless other retailers are following suit too. Coming up, recovering from Hurricane Matthew's overwhelming floodwaters. Homeowners don't even know where to begin, but Operation Blessing is there to help. Hurricane Matthew was the first major hurricane to hit America in a decade. It left in its wake billions of dollars in damages, and as Andrew Knox reports, Operation Blessing is giving people some much-needed help as they rebuild.
As cleanup from Hurricane Matthew continues in the hard-hit communities of Fayetteville, North Carolina, Susan Johnson struggles to put her life back together after the terrifying ordeal.
I was very frightened. I started to panic, and my husband was trying to calm me down, because by that time I thought we should have gone to the evacuation center, but it was too late.
Just to give you an idea of the power of Hurricane Matthew in this community, behind the Johnsons' house is this creek, which is at least 20 feet below me. But the water level easily would rise over my head where I'm standing right now, up these patio steps. The Johnsons' home is 25 feet to my right. The water line on their home after the storm was 4 feet high.
We just totally did not expect that, to be sitting in your house at night and water coming up, from the floor up.
The damage left by the floodwaters was overwhelming.
My husband and I were turning in circles, basically. We didn't know what to do. We didn't know what to do next. And I turned my head, and these two come walking up, and they tell me who they're from. And I just told them, I said, it's just a blessing, because I watch Pat Robertson every day and pray with him, and I see Operation Blessing.
So when I heard Susan's story, she's legally blind. Her and her husband are older. They're by themselves. They need people to come help her. And so when I heard that, we had to send some volunteers over this way.
Operation Blessing was able to help the Johnsons begin the long road to recovery.
The Lord is good. He always provides. He has a plan. I know there's a plan in this. It just means the world to me.
And you can find out how to donate or volunteer with Operation Blessing at their website, ob.org. Up next, they're getting a Bible degree behind bars. This program has had some amazing results. You'll see it in action when we return. The presidential election has become R-rated as vulgar language and issues like sexual assault fill our airways and social media. And many parents say they're trying to find age-appropriate ways to explain what's going on to their children. So how should parents respond if their kids ask questions? Our chief political correspondent, David Brody, offered some great advice on our new parenting blog.
I think you make it a biblical teaching moment for kids to say, hey, look, even the best of us, in other words, the President of the United States, someone that, we should esteem and hold in high value, even folks that are running for that office have problems. So I think you start with sin and that we're all sinners. And then from there, you talk a little bit about, it's probably a good time to talk about the culture, tell your kids, you tell your children that you play to an audience of one, and that's Jesus, and that's it. God looks at the heart. And if you're trying to please God and He knows your true intentions and they're heartfelt, and you're really trying to do that, then the rest will take care of itself.
You can hear David's entire interview on our new parenting blog, Mommyhood Matters. Be sure to follow CBN News on all of our social media platforms for the latest on election 2016. Well, there are maximum security inmates and they're earning Bible degrees behind bars. That's the result of a unique partnership between Texas prisons and Southwestern Baptist Theological Seminary. As I recently discovered when I visited, the goal is to reform the nation's biggest prison system by softening hardened criminals one heart at a time. 30 miles out of Houston, Darrington Prison houses some of the nation's most violent offenders.
This is a maximum security prison, and we have all custody levels here at this facility.
But behind these walls, hardcore criminals are transformed into messengers of hope, thanks to a program offered by Southwestern Baptist Theological Seminary.
It's designed for undergraduate students to receive a Bible college degree to prepare them for pastoral ministry.
The first 2 years, student inmates take general education courses, including English, math, and science. Then comes 2 years of theological training and pastoral ministries. The idea for the seminary came in 2010, when Lieutenant Governor Dan Patrick and Senator John Whitmire visited Louisiana's Angola prison, where a similar Bible program helped change the prison's long culture of violence.
Angola was the bloodiest prison in America. Since the Bible College has come there, they have reduced their crime inside the prison by 72%. So the idea is basically to change the culture by changing the heart with the message of the gospel.
Serving a life sentence, 54-year-old Troop Foster found his life radically transformed after time in solitary confinement.
I was thinking about suicide. I was thinking about ending my life. But I remembered the Jesus from my childhood. So I got down on my knees and I cried out to God, please, if you're here, you're going to have to carry me. And from that point forward, He revealed Himself to me.
Foster, a former gang member, became one of the seminary's first graduates. He now ministers to other hardened gang members.
And I went back to started walking those lines and just sharing my testimony with the men back there. And some of them were real standoffish at first. But when I explained to them, look, brother, I've been in that cage. I spent 8 years where you're at, and I do it in love. And I've had men come to know Jesus Christ.
Brandon Warren serves as a seminary professor.
The demographic that we have, some of these guys, it's been 20 years since they were in school. And when they were in school, it wasn't that great of an education. So I teach how to write a research paper, how to write a book review, memorization skills, study habits, things like that, to try and bridge that gap.
Nearly 60 inmates have completed seminary here at Darrington Prison. And while academics are the major focus of the program, it's the spiritual transformations that make all the difference.
Our purpose is to not only give them a theological education, but to pass on from faculty member to student our heart for ministry, for the Bible, for the love of Jesus, and for the love of their inmates.
Inmate Vondre Cash is serving a 45-year sentence. Despite not being very religious, he felt drawn to the program.
I was searching. I had doubts about Christianity before I came to the program. I had doubts about religion, period. But when I came to the program, the love that the professors showed for me, the care and the patience that they showed, and not only them, but also the other students.
That love led Cash into a more intimate relationship with God. As a graduate of the Bible College, he now shares the hope he found with others.
Being able to dialogue with men on a spiritual level, talk with them in Bible studies, talk with them in prayer circles, that is rewarding in and of itself.
Warren, who once served time, says the program's impact is far-reaching.
This is one that happens all the time. Guards asking our students to pray for them, or coming to them, about some biblical question they have about the Bible or Scripture. So that sort of thing has happened from the beginning.
Warden Mark Jones also sees the difference.
It helps calm down what's going on here at this facility. And even when these offenders graduate and when they go to other facilities, it helps out a lot.
Graduates are dispatched to prisons across Texas and live among the general population, where they hope to encourage fellow inmates to change their ways. Foster, who will be almost 80 before he's eligible for parole, says it's his life's purpose to serve others, whether in or outside prison walls.
Some people graduate college and seminary and they go to North Africa or Czechoslovakia or Russia with their mission field. This is my mission field. And it's a mission field I've already adapted to the culture here. This is a mission field I know the language, and God's called me here.
Amen. How great is our God. And this program is so successful there at Darrington Prison that there's a long waiting list. So many inmates want to get involved, and they're being dispatched to other prisons across the state, sparking revival everywhere they go. So it's a great program. Stay with us. We'll be right back. CBN Asia is bringing a new show to children nationwide in the Philippines. They teamed with the National Council for Children's Television to develop Oyeyi, which means lullaby. The program aims to cultivate, promote, and rekindle lessons such as love for family and others. It also embraces an appreciation for culture and the arts, along with conservation of the environment, and a more responsible approach when it comes to using technology, social media, disaster preparedness, and more. You can find out more about what CBN is doing around the world by going to cbn.com/international. And that is it for now on CBN NewsWatch. You can find more of our exclusive coverage of the issues you care most about at cbnnews.com. We hope you'll join us next time. Have a great day, and God bless.